So the full teaser trailer for Rogue One, a Star Wars story, has been released. I'm going to break down the trailer, highlight any Easter eggs, as well as give some predictions. So the trailer starts out with Felicity Jones's character stating her name for the record, Jyn Erso, which, by the way, is an awesome name and screams Star Wars. So anyway, Jyn has got quite a rap sheet: forgery of imperial documents, possession of stolen property, aggravated assault, resisting arrest, and she's led in handcuffs through the rebel base on the moon of Yavin 4, the same base the rebels were in at the beginning of episode 4, as we can see the same walls and vines growing up of them. An X-Wing, some maintenance droids, and it certainly looks a lot better than 1977's Yavin 4 base. And thankfully don't have those creepy rebels standing against the wall, just looking at the rest of the pilots, just motionless, watching, waiting. Anyway, as we know, this movie is directed by Gareth Edwards, and the story is going to revolve around Jyn Erso leading a band of mercenaries turned rebels who are asked by Mon Mothma and the rebellion to find out information about a secret weapon of the Empire and how to destroy it. In other words, they're going to steal the Death Star plans. But we know that Jyn's team won't quite be able to get the plans back to Yavin 4 and the rebellion in this movie, but they will instead land in the hands of Princess Leia, who will eventually deliver them to the rebels and plug R2-D2 into their USB. The character of Mon Mothma has been played by several actresses over the years. In 1983, she was played by Carolyn Blackerson, and this time she's being played by Irish actress Genevieve O'Reilly. But Genevieve has actually played Mon Mothma before in a deleted scene from Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. There she was just a senator from Chandrila who was fighting against the Chancellor's powers. She eventually becomes the first Chancellor of the New Republic and is in many ways a mentor to Princess Leia Organa. It's Mon Mothma who gives us more of Jyn's backstory. She's been on her own since she was 15, is apparently reckless and rebellious. But as Jyn points out, those are qualities perfectly suited for the rebellion. We see a shot of Jyn dishing out some more aggravated assault on stormtroopers with what seems to be some kind of a modified nightstick. And she seems to have some help, as we see an explosion take out several stormtroopers, as Jyn and Diego Luna's character dive out the way. Now this help presumably comes from this mysterious man on this balcony who has a detonator in his hand. It's unclear who this may be, only that he appears to be helping Jyn. An amazing shot of the Imperial Star Destroyers, which have been updated in terms of detail, but which essentially have the same feel as they did in the original trilogy. And the Death Star has never looked so good, and has, as I said, a tremendous amount of detail. Just compare it to 1977's Death Star. Another shot of Jyn and Diego Luna's character walking with purpose as the rebel pilots are being scrambled to their fighters. A shot of Ben Mendelsohn's character, who is clearly an admiral in the Imperial fleet. We later see him walking through the water in the aftermath of this attack on the coast of an unknown planet. It's possible that he's the admiral overseeing the construction of the Death Star. He's also holding some kind of a weapon that has a very long barrel, with presumably an image of the Death Star behind him. Now some fans have speculated that he could be the father of Jyn, but I really don't see the need for everyone to be related to everyone in the Star Wars universe, so I don't think that's true. On the same desert planet, we see rebels patrolling the streets in a tank, and some captured rebel pilots being marched through a market. So anyway, Jyn and Diego Luna's character are running with a droid in what looks like an underground train station. Now we saw this droid earlier in the trailer with Jyn on the desert planet. This is probably going to be her companion droid, which certainly looks like it'll be a lot more useful than C-3PO ever was in a fight.
Goodness gracious me.
So for interest's sake, this scene was actually filmed at Canary Wharf Tube Station in London. And we see some stormtroopers in an unusual light brown uniform. Forrest Whitaker's character asks, "What will you do when they catch you?" Possibly talking to Jyn or the members of her team, warning them of the dangers of their mission. His character is seen walking with a heavy limp and is wearing what looks like armor, but also has a lot of tubing and also looks like it could double as a life support apparatus, perhaps similar to that of Darth Vader's suit. Speaking of Darth Vader, these stormtroopers could be Vader's Dark Troopers or Death Troopers. And I wonder if these Dark Troopers are perhaps a remnant of the infamous 501st Battalion which carried out Order 66 in Episode 3. Now whoever they are, I think we can expect them to be an elite force which is perhaps commanded by Vader himself. It's interesting that we see what looks like a moisture evaporator in the background. It's interesting because they're usually only seen on desert planets, and this is clearly a tropical planet with palm trees and everything. It's possible the only source of water on this planet is seawater, and the moisture evaporator is used in order to obtain fresh water. Donnie Yen's character looking awesome, probably on that same desert planet. He's surrounded by stormtroopers and fights his way out with a staff. It's interesting that they don't just shoot him, after all he only has a staff, off, but perhaps they're under orders not to kill him for some or other reason. Footage again of those elite dark troopers on a tropical planet attacking the rebels, an imperial transport shuttle being destroyed, and a massive firefight between the rebels and the elite dark troopers, and someone dressed in a hooded black robe kneeling. There are 2 members of the Red Guard in the chamber, indicating that Emperor Palpatine, Darth Sidious himself, is definitely back. But is this hooded figure Darth Vader? We haven't seen him wear a hood with his helmet, and I'm not sure if the head in the hood looks big enough to have a Vader helmet inside, so I'm gonna guess and say this isn't Vader yet. So if it's not Vader, who could it be? Could it possibly be an apprentice of Vader? Just throwing it out there. And what is in the tube? It appears to be some kind of cryostasis tube. And why is it being guarded by the Emperor's Red Guard? Wen Jiang's character, another one of the mercenaries turned rebels running away from an explosion. I get the feeling Jyn goes around this desert planet and assembles a team of mercenaries to help her steal the Death Star plans. And I'm getting a Suicide Squad vibe in that you have bad guys fighting evil. An incredible shot of the AT-ATs on that same tropical planet we saw the Dark Troopers attacking. The AT-ATs are pretty much mowing down the resistance, but Jyn is running full speed pretty much straight towards them wielding 2 guns. Diego Luna's character is doing a lot of bobbing and weaving, but Jyn is clearly fearless. And I can't wait to see if she manages to take down the AT-AT on foot. I love that the hero of the story is not going to be a Jedi, and in fact probably won't be a Force user at all. The feel of this movie reminds me a lot of the brave rebels in the awesome book Lords of the Sith, written by Paul S. Kemp. If you haven't already, do yourself a favor and get hold of the audiobook. It's basically the story of an assassination attempt on Vader and the Emperor. And finally, a shot of Jyn clearly having infiltrated the Empire and dressed as an elite dark trooper, with Darth Vader's theme playing ominously in the background. I don't know about you, but I fully expected to hear Vader's breathing at the end, but I think we're going to have to wait for the first full trailer for that. I absolutely loved this trailer, and I particularly enjoyed the tone of the trailer and hope it carries through to the movie. Gareth Edwards, the director, was quoted as saying Rogue One is essentially a war movie, and it definitely shows. Felicity Jones seems like she's going to give us an awesome performance as Jyn, and to me it just feels like Star Wars. So I can't wait for December. So there you have it, my breakdown of the trailer. What did you all think of the trailer? Did you love it as much as I did? Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and then share it. I post lots of videos every week on comic book, movies, TV, including Star Wars and other blockbusters, so why not subscribe? Thanks again. Cheers for now.